You're listening to Hawk Talk with former Seahawks wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
Play fake, going to roll right, dumps it off into the right flat to Michael Bumpus, who bounces off of one tackler, gets inside the 40, down to the 35-yard line.
Powered by Seahawks.com.
Matt pump fakes, looking to the goal line. He throws it into the end zone. Touchdown Seahawks! It's Michael Bumpus with a diving catch in the end zone. A 10-yard touchdown reception for Bumpus, and the kid out of Washington State has found himself a place on this team.
Now, here's your host, Nasser Kyobe.
Welcome back. Welcome into another edition of Hawk Talk. The Seahawks on top, beating the San Francisco 49ers 20-17 in a battle down in the Bay. Broadcasting live from the Seahawks podcast studio, presented by Sony, the official partner of the Seattle Seahawks. Bump, all is right in the world again. The Seahawks on top, breaking the 6-game losing streak, taking down the 49ers.
In their house, in their kitchen, made a sandwich, didn't close the fridge, and got up out of there. That's how you do it, man. Big ups. That was a big game. If you don't win this game, the season looks a bit different. Now, I know they've lost a lot of games up to this point, but you're still in it. The division is still locked up. Cardinals at the top, but you are back in the mix. Let's go.
Well, not to mention, it was a crazy week at VMAC. It wasn't like it was a chill thing going into it. Yes, there was a bye week, but the Seahawks moved on from Tyrell Dodson.
Yep.
Starting center Connor Williams retired. Abe Lucas made his return, so there are all these question marks. Everything around the team.
DK's back.
DK came back. A lot going on, but the Seahawks got it done. Coming into this game, I mentioned the Seahawks had lost 6 consecutive games to the 49ers, and in those games, the Seahawks got behind early and often. Halftime of those games, the Seahawks trailed by a combined score 104-36. The Hawks only led one time in that stretch at halftime. That was a 2022 wildcard game, and trailed by double digits in 4 of those 6 games. But the tide finally changed on Sunday. What had happened?
See, what had happened at first
What had happened was.
On Hawk Talk.
Bump, it started as good as it could be for the Seahawks, get a 3-and-out in their first possession defensively, and then the offense followed that up with a 9-play, 44-yard drive, ending with a 52-yard field goal from Jason Myers, making the score 3-0, taking their first lead.
Easy 52, man. He just says, Myers, man, he's looking like that Pro Bowler that we know. The 49ers responded with a great drive of their own. They go 12 plays, 71 yards, ending with a 10-yard touchdown scramble from Brock Purdy, making the score 7-3 San Francisco. The Hawks will punt on the next drive, but their defense will come up big 2 plays later with a Devin Witherspoon deflection going to Christian McCaffrey. And the big man, Jonathan Hankins, gets up, hands catch, and he didn't try to run. He went straight down to the ground. He goes, I don't do this, but I do this.
I love to see his vert, though. He got up there.
He got up there.
Love to see the big man interception doing his thing, Jonathan Hankins. The Seahawks couldn't really take advantage of the great field position. They would have to settle for another Jason Myers field goal, 7-6. I believe that was a 57-yarder.
Easy.
Talking about Jason Myers. Easy money. Easy money. Shout out to Jason Myers because people don't give kickers enough credit. I know Brian Walters said this, and some people feel a certain type of way about it. But J-Mike giving you your shout out, doing your thing. The Hawks defense would come up big the following drive, forcing another 49ers punt after an 11-play drive. The Hawks would punt on their last drive of the first half, and the Niners would take the 1-point lead into half.
Yeah, you're feeling good because what was the goal? Just keep it close at halftime. Keep it close at halftime, and you're going to have a chance. The opening drive of the second half started with disaster, though. On 3rd and 8 from the Hawks' 17-yard line, Geno was intercepted by Isaac Jittum. He was rolling to his left side. I believe he was looking towards, there was JSN over there. There was, I think, A.J. Barner on the inside and DK over the top. Right. I think he got caught in, like, where am I going with this football? Jason was working back. It sailed over his head. DB over there caught that thing, and you start to stress out a little bit because we've seen this before. But thankfully, the Seahawks defense got a huge stop holding the 49ers to a field goal, making the score 10-6. Defense stepped up, man.
This is without question. We'll talk about this more. The story of the game and the day, wholly for me, was the defense.
Yep.
Going against that team who had your number 6 consecutive times with the weapons they have. I don't care if Kittle wasn't in the game.
I don't care.
I don't care if Ayuk is on IR. They got all-pro dudes everywhere.
The Lions didn't care when we had 6 starters out.
No,
so
they
why
did
should
not.
we care about the Niners and their problems?
Thank you. They're still a good football team. The defense balled out. After that, the Seahawks would respond with a great drive going 11 plays, 70 yards, ending with a Ken Walker touchdown. That was set up by a big 3rd down to conversion on 3rd and 12. Geno Smith found DK Metcalf, and then Walker's touchdown made the score 13-10 Seattle.
I was on trolling the Niners today.
Okay.
And not
Nasty
trolling,
work.
really just watching the chaos go down. And they're complaining about that catch. He was out of bounds. Listen, he got 2 in, okay? Plain as day. You can complain about the JSN catch, all right, whatever.
Maybe.
But that one, that was good to go. But the Niners will respond in a big way. Brock Purdy would find Juwan Jennings, who had himself a good day, for a 3-yard touchdown after a 14-play, 70-yard drive. That play design was nasty, too.
Yes, it was.
On that drive, the 49ers were able to convert 3 third downs, including 2 separate 3rd and 11s. We ended up not liking that number, 3rd and 11.
Yeah.
We saw it a lot, like 3 times. I think they converted 2 of them. That made the score 17-13 San Francisco. The Hawks would try to respond, but once again came up short in short yardage situation. On 3rd and 1 from the Niners' 47-yard line, Geno was stopped on a QB sneak. He wasn't stopped. That was a first down. That was a first down. Very next play, Zach Charbonnet, he gets stopped. That was questionable. We could argue that one. But both of those, I felt like they got them both times. I think Geno was for sure. The Charbonnet one, okay, we can argue that one a bit.
Yeah, that was tough because when you look at the spot, the where the ball was initially spotted, it was clear as day he had the first down. The other official came in and moved it back a yard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love how quickly that process happened because they tell the Seahawks, well, it's already been reviewed. I just don't know how you can review and confirm in that short of time without even bringing the sticks out for measurement. But hey, that's not in my lane. I'll stay in my lane. It is what it is. And then the defense, you talked about it earlier, Bump. They stepped up once again, and honestly, I don't want to say save the season, but save where the Seahawks were going. I mean, usually when something bad like that happens again, right? All the momentum's out of the gate. And I think McCaffrey had like a 9 or 8 yard gain on the very next play following that.
Yep.
Defense shook it off. They call that sun change. They got another huge stop, setting the stage for Geno Smith.
Geno, goodness gracious, Geno, we appreciate you. He took the Seahawks down the field thanks to a big reception from DK Metcalf, 2 big-time third-down conversions to JSN, and then Geno did the rest with his legs, had a 16-yard scramble. My man was like, he was jogging. Like, he was just so calm
Smooth
and composed. I'm like, Geno, what are you doing? Are you going to get down? He gets down at the final moment, and then had a 13-yard touchdown, capping off 11-play, 80-yard drive, made the score 20-17, 12 seconds left on the clock, and he gave him the go-to-sleep. Big ups to Curry. You're in the Bay. Steph Curry, plays for the Warriors. So it was good, man. 12 seconds left, and it was a weird play at the end, how this game ended with D. Hall.
Yeah, what is it? If you're a fan of ESPN and Scott Van Pelt, he calls it like pitchy, woo, whatever at the end of games and stuff like that. Was pretty much what that was with the Seahawks defense all over it. In the play before, I think they tried to connect with Deebo Samuel and Devin Witherspoon, who we're going to talk about, put him in the ground, ended that thing. Derek Hall comes down with the football. The Seahawks get the win and the losing streak in Santa Clara. And here's the crazy thing. You want to talk about the defense of 2 games? After giving up 483 total yards, 228 yards in the first matchup against the 49ers, the Seahawks, huge improvement, holding the Niners to just 277 yards and 131 yards rushing. The Seahawks were also only penalized 4 times on the day, Bump, and they weren't penalized on the offensive line.
No, they 4 to the Niners, I think 10 or 11. And I think that was something the Niners were crying about. I go, listen, man, this is a NFL season. Things aren't always going to go your way. Guys are going to be banged up. We've experienced that.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be called for a bunch of penalties. We've experienced that. You're going to be up. You're going to lose. We've experienced that. So it feels good. I didn't even go to watch Niner Twitter and all that stuff to engage, but just to watch the houses burn up, Like, look at those guys over there.
It feels good because it's back to what it used to be.
Yeah.
The Seahawks were 16-4 or 17-4, something like that in the previous 9 years. So then you had the 16 losing streak. So it's great to see the Seahawks back where we expect them to be. Huge win against the 49ers. On Sunday, there was lots of playmakers.
Touchdown, Seahawks!
Playmakers.
Show them what time it is.
Holy catfish!
We're going to start off with the quarterback, Geno Smith. We talked about him. He was 25 of 32, 221 yards, 1 interception, but had 4 carries for 29 yards in the game-winning touchdown. This was Geno's 10th game-winning drive since 2022. Waited for this, could confirm it last night, but now that is tied for second most in the NFL. He was 3rd. He has 10. I believe a couple other people have 10. So he's right there second now in the NFL game-winning drives, which just shows you the clutch nature of Geno Smith. He also passed Rick Meyer for 5th place on Seattle's all-time passing attempts list, with 1,524. Now, this one was so sweet to me, Bump, because Geno takes a lot of bullets.
He sure
takes
does.
a lot of arrows. He's dealt with so many different things, and for him to engineer that drive and for him to be the one to take it on his own, he had a big 16-yard scramble before that, and he gets a 13-yard touchdown to seal the deal. And just the emotion he felt when he threw the ball into the stands, I love to see it because Geno's been through a lot, and he's a good quarterback. He got to prove it again.
The quiet was loud after he scored that touchdown. And, I'm looking in the crowd. I went back in slow-mo several times to look at all the faces in the crowd.
Yes.
And Geno to celebrate. I'm happy for that guy. He does more than what people really understand and appreciate. So, big ups, Geno. Next up, JSN, man, 10 receptions, 110 yards. First time in his career, he had back-to-back 100-yard games. His third 100-yard game of the season. I believe he's up to 670-something yards, 3 touchdowns this year. Low-key is on pace to have a 1,000-yard season. Yep. And there was a time during this year where people were questioning, could he be the number 2? Could he be the Robin to DK's Batman or vice versa? And I think the past 2 weeks he's proven that. My thing is I wanted to see him do that with DK in the lineup. Right. And he did exactly that. DK still had a good game, too, 7 catches for 70 yards. But it was nice to see JSN shine on those third downs, too. And what I'm seeing now is he is getting more comfortable just moving guys. I think he's understanding what he's looking at. There was a third down early in the game where the flat defender is going to the right, and he could have just hitched up. It was a nice little spot right. He could have just hitched up, but he leans and takes him there. Like, look, you're going that way, I'm going to take you that way, then I'm going to hitch up. The little things in his route running is coming to life.
No, we love to see it. We've talked about JSN a ton this year, and we've known he's got the skills. There's a reason why he was drafted where he was drafted. So it's cool to see this whole offense develop, whether it's DK, whether it's JSN, with Ryan Grubb and everyone working together, doing some good things there. Reminder, we're broadcasting live from the Seahawks podcast studio presented by Sony, the official partner of the Seattle Seahawks. In this NFL season bump, feel every play, every hit, every moment with the Sony 1000 XM5 noise-canceling headphones. The official headphones of the Seattle Seahawks with premium noise cancellation. You're in the zone, no distractions, just pure football. Whether you're in your living room or on the go, you'll never miss a beat with Sony headphones. Talking Playmakers bump, let's keep it there. I'll flip to the defensive side of the ball. Ernest Jones, I think I heard you say on your show earlier today, pay the man.
Pay the man right now. Don't let him leave VMAC today without signing him.
Ernest Jones is a baller, man.
Yeah.
You see exactly why John Schneider and this personnel staff had him in here, because he fits Mike McDonald's defense and the way he plays the game. It's violent. It's aggressive. There's no hesitation. There's no going underneath blocks. None of that. He had 13 tackles, 6 solo, led the team in tackles, and just a physical nature. He is just a presence on the field. He's got that green dot now, and the communication's on point. So now that he's had it'll be a month, I believe, next week in a Seahawks uniform, practicing here, he's playing. He's an all-pro caliber, Pro Bowl type player.
Yep.
You watch him play, I love seeing what Ernest is doing.
I like when they zoom up on him before the snap and the intensity in his eyes. My man is like, I'm locked in. I'm ready to go. And I would assume that having the green dot, he has to communicate with everybody. He's becoming a leader on this defense. He has to be a leader on this defense. So the more deposits he makes with 13 tackles, the more he is going to lead this ball club. Tyrese Knight, happy for this young man. First time in a while, Nas, I looked at the box score, and 2 linebackers led the charge in tackles. Knight was the other guy. 10 tackles, 1 quarterback hit. He didn't seem overwhelmed. There were times where I felt like, he got beat on that play. Everybody gets beat. Especially playing against the Niners, a good football team. But at no point did he seem overwhelmed. I never looked at him and just scratched my head and thought to myself, what are you doing? Every time I looked at him, he's in the right position. Did he make every play? No. But he made the second most plays on defense when it comes to tackles. Tyrese Knight had himself a good day.
We heard from AD, the defensive coordinator for the Seahawks, and he talked about the maturation and the growth Knight's had from early in the season to now. He said it was night and day, no pun intended, Tyrese Knight. But the thing for me, though, is like that first game he played against the Patriots, you got to think he couldn't have gotten all the reps that week in practice.
Right.
Jerome Baker gets hurt, and all of a sudden you're in the thick of it and you're going, right? Now he's had some time to step back, watch guys play with a guy like Ernest Jones alongside of him, and you knew you were going to be the guy all week.
Yep.
You had a whole week of preparation, and to your point, he fit right in. So I love to see the rookie Tyrese Knight doing his thing. And then Devin Witherspoon.
Boom.
You want to talk about energy? He's been that since the day he stepped foot in Seattle. We know that about Devin Witherspoon, but this was his most impactful game, in my opinion. 8 tackles, 3 passes defended. One of those PBUs led to an interception. He was active with his pressures. He's just a different dude out there, whether he's in the slot, whether he's outside. And honestly, he could have had a couple more deflections if Jennings didn't make some amazing plays.
Man, he was on his hip.
Yeah.
Jennings has made some plays, man.
But Witherspoon, that is the dude that we know who he is, and that's the dude that makes him a difference maker on this defense. And when he's playing like that, good luck.
I see my man in between the tackles a couple times, mixing it up in the box. I'm like, you a $185 getting up in there. This was a game that he needed, and I think that the 12s needed to remind themselves, like, he's a good football player. Sometimes with DBs, if they're not making interceptions or pass deflections, then you lose them, and you can assume they're not having a good year. But every time Mike McDonald and AD talked about Spoon, they liked where he was. So it was nice to see him put it out there for the world to see. This one I was the most excited about. We've talked about a lot of guys balling out. Abe Lucas and Oluwatimi had themselves a day. Shout out to both of these guys, man. Abe Lucas played in 42 snaps, and he looked like he didn't skip a beat. I'm just hoping his body's okay. Oluwatimi played in every single snap,
100%.
and he looked good. I saw him get beat maybe one time, and I want to big up the guards as well. I think Anthony Bradford had a better game, and I think Tomlinson had a better game. If they don't have better games, it's hard for Olu to have the game that he had as well. So big ups to that offensive line. Sacked 4 times. I believe Geno was hit 6 or 7 times, but they did enough, and Olu led the charge. That was fun.
This in no way looked like the first matchup where Nick Bosa alone had 14 pressures and was under fire from the jump. There's plenty of times I felt like Geno actually had a relatively clean pocket to work. And you mentioned it before we got on air, how Geno is progressing, that he goes through every one of his progressions.
Yep.
So how do you do that? You need to have protection.
Got to protect.
And again, when you're not coming into the week and if you're not talking about your guards or specific people by name and numbers, that means the guys up front are doing their thing. So big ups to them, cleaning things up.
But we are talking about them. Olu and Abe Lucas, baby.
Hell yeah, we're talking about them. Doing the thing.
Heck yeah.
Your guy, Abe Lucas, former Coug, former
Cougs,
pride of
Cougs.
Archbishop Murphy High School. Now, spreading the love outside of the O-line, the quarterbacks. Bump. Let's talk about these receivers.
All right, we talked about a couple of them already. JSN had 10 receptions on 11 targets for $110. DK had 9 targets, 7 receptions for 70 yards. Tyler Lockett had 2 for 19. A.J. Barner, 2 for 15. Kenneth Walker, 2 for 5. Zach Charbonnet, 2 for 2 yards. Overall, this group averaged 8.8 yards per catch. Jackson averaged 11. DK averaged 10 yards per catch.
You know the cool thing I like about this with the top weapons? Tyler Lockett, 2 receptions on 3 targets. DK Metcalf, 7 receptions on 9 targets. Jackson Smith-Njigba, 10 receptions on 11 targets. That shows that it's the accuracies there, that they're making receptions. It's not one of those where, yeah, he had 110 yards, but he got targeted 45 times.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So love to see that from Geno Smith and the rest of the receivers. So looking good there. That brings us to the play of the game. I'm sure you guys know what I'm going to go here. It's the last drive of the game. Geno Smith taking the Seahawks down the field. I'm sure 12s everywhere were panicking as the time was running out. No, this man was cool, calm, and collected. Geno Smith getting it done.
Geno gets him back to the line of scrimmage, 22-21, gets the snap, looks, steps up, gonna run, 10, 5, Geno, touchdown, Seahawks! Holy catfish! Geno Smith runs left side, can't find anybody open from 13 out, 12 seconds left, and the Seahawks take the lead, 19-17. Are you kidding me? No quit in this bunch.
Yeah, this was just great decision making, right? Make the decision not to force anything. He has 3 receivers, Geno in shotgun, 3 receivers to the left of him, 2 to the right. I love how they put DK Metcalf closer to the offensive line at that number 3 receiver spot with A.J. Barner on the outside of him, just to give a different look and try to get into a spot from a different area. I love that. On the other side, you got a little switch route going on. That means the outside receiver goes in, inside receiver goes out. And now on the left side of Geno, you have DK Metcalf to the flat, and you got A.J. Barner working the middle of the field, and then a shallow. You got to give the Niners credit here. They played this perfectly. Everything was on lock. You got Fred Warner roaming in the middle of the field. That's where they went wrong. He went to the field side. That's the wide side of the field naturally to help out with that combination over there. Geno felt some pressure, stepped up, kept his eyes down the field, and saw that everybody was locked up. They had man-on-man, bodies-on-bodies over there. So then he says, I'll go ahead and do this thing myself, and he glides in that end zone.
What I love about this bump, so time and score, Seahawks are trailing 13-17. There's 21 seconds on the clock. 2nd and 2, no timeouts.
None.
Geno gets tackled there, Bump, we are in some trouble.
Some big trouble.
It's going to be a mad scramble to get back to the line of scrimmage. Okay, what do? You spike it because you want to stop the clock. Boom. Okay, now it's fourth down. Game's over. Now you have one play to win the game.
One play, yep.
So Geno, just a presence of mind. You went through all the things. Geno Smith, and I love it too because we had, I think it was the Broncos game, the season opener. We had that long 30-some yard run as long as his career. And just settle, just picking and choosing his times, man. And I love to see it. Picked it at the right time. 2 big scrambles on the final drive, setting up our favorite formation in football, victory formation.
Here comes the Seahawks offense onto the field and the Vikings defense trudging out there, knowing that one kneel down and the Seahawks are going to wind the clock down and win this one.
It's the victory formation on Hawk Talk.
The Giant gone down. They have been slayed. 6-game losing streak to the 49ers is finally over. And like I said, all is right in the world.
First win against the Niners, Geno. Not a baby.
Love it, man. I mean, in this one, obviously, everyone's going to say the right things, but this was personal for me too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like in this rivalry, I have a old intern that used to work for the Seahawks.
Yeah. He be talking?
Zach's been super respectful.
Because he used to work here. So
yeah,
he
used
got
to work
love.
here, and he's a diehard Niners fan, but this is the first time that the Seahawks had won since he's been over there. So I felt pretty good about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the defense, we talked about it from the jump. The defense played so well. I think this is our best game of the year. Might not be statistically, but given the opponent, they only gave up one play of 20 yards in the game, stopping the explosive, held Christian McCaffrey to under 100 yards, and the 49ers team under 300 yards. That hasn't been done in this whole stretch. So to see them make that step against that team needed to happen. Love to see it.
I'm so used to seeing McCaffrey break off a 50-yarder, and we did not see that on Sunday, and I appreciate the defense for that. And I appreciate this young man, Tyrese Knight, drafted in the 4th round out of UTEP. No one really knew about him. He had to go ahead and watch the film, and his instincts is what stood out to me when I was watching him in college, and that's what I saw this weekend. Tyrese Knight was where he was supposed to be. He made some tackles, and he was enthusiastic. I love it. And then you got to talk about JSN, man. Back-to-back 100-yard games. Clutch. My man is catching the football in between plays. There's that one where Geno's rolling to the right and Fred Warner's right there, and Geno drops a dot, and you could easily get distracted with the hands in front of the football. Not JSN. He continues to take steps forward and mature, man. You know what it is? I saw him at Starbucks, and I gave him the what up. So then that's what it was. I just gave him good energy, then he went and did his thing. You know what I mean?
Thanks for doing that, Bump. Seahawks fans, thank you.
That's what I do for the squad.
What I love about JSN is he's starting to take a page out of a guy that you played with, Bobby Ingram. Bobby. It was 3rd down. Where are we looking? Looking for 84, Bobby Ingram. So loving to see that from JSN. And then you got Geno Smith. Was he absolutely perfect? No, he had one bad play, but he put the team on his back. When you need the game, and who else do I want the ball? Geno Smith.
7.
I want the ball in his hands. Second most come from behind wins, game-winning drives since 2022. Geno Smith has just been unbelievable this season, and I'm loving where he's going and where he's taking his football team.
Yeah, we go as far as Geno goes, as far as his O-line protects, and as far as his defense stops the run and makes big plays. So keep it rolling. I love it. The Seahawks are now just one game out of first place in the NFC West, which is crazy. We thought the world was over and the season was lost. But you need to get this win over the Cardinals next week. You have a chance to kind of control your own destiny because these guys are in sole possession of first place, man. The Niners go to Green Bay. That's going to be a tough Packers team. And then the Rams host the Eagles. I'm going to go ahead and say the Eagles get that done. It's looking good for the Seahawks. Yeah, they got to go on a run. Started with the Niners. Step 1 there. Step 2, Cardinals.
Yeah, take care of business. You're going to play 2 games against the Cardinals in the next 3 weeks. So a lot of big games, a lot of big football to be played. But the Seahawks got it done again. We're broadcasting from the Seahawks podcast studio, presented by Sony, the official partner of the Seattle Seahawks. Make sure you can listen to us anywhere: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SiriusXM. You can watch us on YouTube under the Seahawks Press Pass channel. Bump, it is great to finally be talking about a Seahawks victory over the San Francisco 49ers. Lots of stuff ahead this week. The Seahawks taking on the Cardinals. We'll preview that matchup on Thursday. He's Michael Bumpus. I'm Nasser Kyobe. This has been Hawk Talk. We'll talk to you guys soon.